Let me get right to this piece, The Intercept. You're familiar with that online investigative journalism publication. Not everything that is published on The Intercept is what I agree with politically, but I've never found anything on The Intercept that wasn't true. Two Brazilian firms owned by a top donor to President Trump and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. Two Brazilian firms, top donors to Trump and Mitch McConnell. What happened to the idea of no foreign money? Those two firms are significantly responsible for the ongoing destruction of the Amazon rainforest. Carnage that has developed into raging fires that has gotten the world's attention. Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell receive buckets of money from these two Brazilian firms. Now, this is why, what was it today or yesterday? Trump, the dumb fucker, compliments Bolsonaro, the fascist like Trump who runs Brazil. Keep doing what you're doing, Jair. Hey, he's a friend of mine, you know. I've known Jair since we went to different high schools together. These two companies have gotten control of land, deforested it, and helped build a controversial highway to their new terminal in the one-time jungle, all to facilitate the cultivation and export of grain and soybeans. The shipping terminal at Miritituba, deep in the Amazon in the Brazilian state of Pará, allows growers to load soybeans on barges, which will then sail to a larger port before the cargo is shipped around the world. The Amazon terminal is run by Hidrovias do Brasil, a company that is owned in large part by Blackstone. Steven Schwarzman? Remember him? He's the one, when his daughter got married, he gave, what was it, Kathy, a $25 million wedding, or was it $50 million? It's owned in large part by Blackstone, major U.S. investment firm. Another Blackstone company, Patria Investimentos, owns more than 50% of Hidrovias, while Blackstone itself directly owns an additional roughly 10% stake. Blackstone co-founder and CEO Steven Schwarzman is a close ally of Trump and has donated millions of dollars to McConnell in recent years. So even though the money is generated from the destruction of the Amazon, it flows through the hands of one of the richest Americans, according to Forbes, that we have, Steven Schwarzman. The port and the highway, Intercept reports, have been deeply controversial in Brazil, were subjects of a 2016 investigation by the Intercept Brazil. Hidrovias announced in early 2016 that it would soon begin exporting soybeans trucked from the state of Mato Grosso along this highway. The road was largely unpaved at the time, but the company said it planned to continue improving and developing it. In the spring of 2019, the government of Jair Bolsonaro, elected in fall 2018, announced that Hidrovias would partner in the privatization and development of hundreds of miles of this Brazilian Route 163. Developing the roadway itself causes deforestation, but more importantly, it helps make possible the broadest transformation of the Amazon from jungle to farmland. See what wealthy people can do? What billionaires can do? The roadway has had a marked effect on deforestation. After the devastation that began under the military dictatorship and accelerated through the 70s and 80s, the rate of deforestation slowed as a coalition of indigenous communities and other advocates of sustaining the forest fought back against the encroachment of these corporate monsters. The progress began turning back in 2014 as political tides shifted and global commodity prices climbed. Deforestation began to truly spike again after the soft coup that ousted President Dilma Rousseff of the Workers' Party in 2016. The right-wing government that seized power named a billionaire, made his money from planting soybeans, Blairo Maggi, a former governor of Mato Grosso. They named him Minister of Agriculture. Blah, blah, blah. The Amazon, where a record number of fires have been raging, is the world's largest rainforest that absorbs a significant amount of carbon dioxide. The Amazon is so dense in vegetation that it produces something like a fifth of the world's oxygen supply. The moisture that evaporates from the Amazon, from the jungle, from the rainforest, is important for farmlands, not just in South America, but also in the U.S. Midwest, Nebraska, Iowa, Kansas. Where it falls to the earth as rain. Protection of the Amazon, 60% of which is in Brazil, is crucial to the continued existence of civilization as we know it. Now, how many Midwestern U.S. farmers who Trump lies to every goddamn day, how many of those farmers realize the little chain there? Steven Schwarzman, big contributor to Donald Trump and Mitch McConnell, owns companies whose sole purpose is to rip the fuck out of the Amazon jungle, the rainforest, tear it to pieces, get rid of the goddamn trees. How long is Schwarzman going to be alive? How long is Trump going to be alive? How long is Mitch McConnell going to be alive? Look at this billionaire ass fuck who died the other day, one of the Koch brothers. What the fuck does he care? He never had to experience what people alive 20 years from now are going to experience. Same could be said for the names I just mentioned. But how many of these Midwestern farmers are aware that the policies of Mitch McConnell, and he does make policy, and Donald Trump are so goddamn criminal that it's going to affect Midwestern farmers to the point where they are going to go bankrupt. The ones that aren't going bankrupt already because of Trump's trade war with half the fucking world. How many farmers know that the moisture that evaporates, the millions of tons of moisture that evaporates out of the rainforest in Brazil eventually makes its way over Kansas and Nebraska and Iowa and Minnesota and all those Midwestern states and North Dakota and South Dakota, and whoosh comes down as rain. And hey, yo, farmers, if there's no fucking rainforest, you're not going to get any rain. You don't care. You don't care. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. As you know, we've switched formats and are now broadcast exclusively on the Progressive Voices Network. So that means you get fewer program interruptions, no corporate commercials, and lots of profanity.
But our format change also means some of our radio listeners no longer hear the program. It's been a while since I mentioned our podcasts, so you may have forgotten that there is a way to listen to this program anytime you need a good dose of screaming. Visit MikeMalloy.com and subscribe to our podcasts. You have your choice. You can listen to the ranting with the audio podcast or listen and watch me lose control with a video podcast subscription. As a podcast subscriber, you can download the program to your mobile device and take me with you wherever you go. And if you have a friend who needs a dose of truth-seeking, you can give a gift subscription as well. That's MikeMalloy.com, and never miss a minute of the uncensored fun and frivolity.